practice rested on our backs. So just take a moment, find the earth. Your legs can be straight, your legs can be bent, whatever feels best to you. Back there, turn this light off so it's not right in your eyes. So we'll use these first few moments today just to let things settle into place, right? To let our physical body start to make connection with the earth. Take a moment to turn down noise happening within our minds. Even though it's usually very impossible to turn it completely off, we can use our breath to make it a little quieter. Focusing on that easy, steady inhale and that easy, steady exhale. Today's opening thoughts are entitled, "The race is not always to the swift, but those who keep on running." There are many things I'd like to accomplish or wish I'd accomplished already. I won't get frustrated by not having done everything I aspire to do. I'll just keep working at it. Today, throughout your practice, if you come across a pose that doesn't feel just right, you just notice where you are in that shape and keep on going. Don't give up on the pose, don't give up on your breath. Just keep on going. Your hands have found themselves to the floor. Perhaps we'll bring them over to rest on the body. Right hand to rest on your heart. Left hand to rest on your belly. Take some easy, steady breaths, feeling the hand resting on your belly rise slightly higher than the one on your heart. Feeling that breath take its time. Inhaling slowly to allow the hand to rise. Exhaling slowly to allow the hand to fall. Steady, controlled breaths. All the muscles of the body relax. Letting the mind feel at ease and calm as we begin our practice today. Hand on the belly rises slightly higher than the one on your heart. As you feel ready, if your legs have been long, let's go ahead and add a little bend to the knees. Walk the feet gradually up the mat, planting those feet on the floor. Just behind the glutes, just behind the hips, and let the knees kind of sway a little bit right and left. Your hands can stay where they are, or you might like to reach wide to a T. Let your knees rock easy and slowly from side to side. Heart up towards the sky. Breath controlled, slow, easy. The next time the knees make their way back to center, pause there. Bring the right knee in towards your chest. Give the ankle a little bit of movement and hug that knee in close. Your right foot, or your left foot rather, can stay right there on your mat, or you might want to extend that left leg long depending on how deep of a stretch you're looking for today. It might make sense to grab at the shin, or some of you might choose to grab on the back side of the thigh. Give yourself some space here to feel the earth beneath your spine. Shoulder blades coming out from underneath of you, hips getting some opening, aiding in digestion as we hug that knee in close. If the left leg has gone long, let's go ahead and walk that left foot back up the mat. Switch the grip to the back of your thigh and elevate your right foot up towards the ceiling. The hands can stay on the back of the thigh, or they might slide their way up the leg a little bit, maybe towards your ankle or your calf. You can, of course, let that left leg go long if you need a deeper stretch, looking like a pair of scissors, or you can keep that gentle bend in the knee. Head might come up off the earth. You might turn this into a spider shape or spider pose, as it's sometimes called, with a little deeper stretch, pushing through the heel of that left leg. Just be where you need to be today. Keep on going. Easing out of that, we'll take our time to bring head back to earth. If you had it lifted, knee takes a bend, comes back to chest, and then just hug that right knee over towards the right edge of your mat. It's kind of like you're trying to open up the outer edge of that right hip. Perfect. Bring that right knee back to center and then drop the right foot back to the ground. Left knee now takes its turn. Hugged in towards the belly, let the ankle get some movement. Hands on the back of the thigh, rock around. Simple movement. Again, massaging the spine into the earth, getting those shoulder blades out from underneath of you. Back of the head rests comfortably into the ground. Grip might switch to the back of your thigh as you elevate the left foot high to the sky. Hands can stay there on thigh or perhaps slide up the back of your leg. Maybe you press through your right heel, extending that right leg long. Head might become slightly up off the earth to give you that spider shape, spider pose. Again, remembering right where you are is perfectly fine. Don't try to take a shape that doesn't work for you today. Softening that as you feel ready, head and neck returning to earth for those of you who came up. Bend the knee and then bring it towards the left edge of your mat. Again, open up that outer edge, that left side. From here, we'll bring that left knee back to center, but instead of just taking the left foot straight down to the ground, crisscross your knees. So you've got the right foot planted on the earth, right knee towards the ceiling. Take your left leg and crisscross over the top like you're doing eagle, but you're rested here on the back. You're going to take your left arm and have it reach towards the armpit on your right side. So it's just reaching across your chest. Then take your right arm and have it reach over for the top of your left shoulder, maybe even around to the shoulder blade as you give yourself a nice hug with your arms. Your feet can stay planted here on the earth, or you might choose to bring the knees up and a little closer to you, taking on some eagle shape here, resting on your back. Softening the muscles of your face, letting your outer hips have just a little bit of time here. You can point and flex toes or roll around ankles. It's not uncommon, especially when you feel a little chilled, that our toes feel tight, ankles feel tight. Give them some fluidity, some space to move. Perfect. Start to bring the feet back down to the ground first, for those of you who brought them up. Uncross the knees and try to remember to repeat that same movement, just opposite leg this time is going to go on top. Let your arms come apart. Your right hand this time reaches around towards the armpit on that left side. Your left hand reaches over and across the top, grabbing towards your right shoulder blade or your right shoulder. Feet can stay on earth, or you might choose again to bring those knees in a little closer. Maybe you rock around here a little bit, you point and flex your toes, or give some space in your ankles. Sometimes my neck gets a little tense in this posture, so if you feel like it might serve you well to let your head sway or your nose kind of draw lines on the ceiling, feel free. You can also have some movement in your hips, kind of rocking around here a little bit if that feels good. Perfect. Taking your time, we'll bring these feet back down to the ground, one at a time, resting just behind your glutes. Hands come down to the mat. You'll set yourself for a yoga bridge, keeping the feet on the earth, the shoulders and head on the ground. You'll use your inhale breath or your exhale, whichever feels more natural, to lift the hips up off the ground, as if you've tied a string to your belly button, just lifting it up towards the ceiling. Slight tension between the thighs, heels, pulling an energy line up towards your head. And we breathe. So your glutes have a little bit of tension in them, but if you were to touch them, they're not clenched, they're not putting any pressure into your low back. That flowing breath. And then we'll ease our way back down. Shoulders, upper back, middle back, low back, glutes returning to the earth. Let the legs go long down the mat, stretch the hands up and over the head, reaching for the opposite wall behind you. Make your body nice and long. Point through your toes, reach through your fingers. You might even bring your hands up to touch one another in kind of a high prayer above your head if that does not bother your shoulders. Of course, if it does, you can keep space between your hands. Relax your feet, let your toes now flex up towards the ceiling, pushing through your heels. Legs get tight once more. Relax the shoulders, bend the elbows, let the arms come down to take more of a goalpost or a cactus, trident pose. Relax the feet and ankles, point and flex, roll the ankles, curl the toes. Head sway side to side. And then we'll pull these elbows down towards the sides of your body. Set your elbows into the earth. Stand your fingers up to face the ceiling. Now it looks like you got two 90-degree angles on either sides of your body. Bend the knees so that your knees are facing up towards the sky. Set for bridge again. This time, instead of using your hands on the earth, push through your elbows and lift those hips. This forces our thoracic spine, the middle of our back, function a little stronger in this pose. It's great for spinal health, especially for those of us who spend a lot of time hunched over a computer in the day. This is a great way to fire up that middle back, keep us strong and connected. All the vertebrae of the spine. Hands start to move down towards earth. Take your time, lower down. Shoulders, middle back, and low back. And then your seat. Knees come into chest when you feel ready. Give them a nice good hug. Rock side to side. Option to roll to your right side and use the earth to come to seat. Or perhaps you start to rock and roll up the spine. Maybe take a couple and then move your way to your seat. Perfect. One or two seated poses today, and then we're gonna get onto hands and knees. So just make the body tall, reach up just like we did when we were laying on the floor. Exhale, take that same trident or goal post shape. One more time, reach up, look up. Exhale it out, let the arms come wide. Pull the elbows in front of your face. And then just start to hinge at your hip creases until you fold all the way down and the hands find themselves on the earth. Relax the neck, relax the shoulders, opening up the hips. Stretching that low back, big inhale starts to bring us back up. Go back to those 90-degree angles with your elbows. Pause there. Inhale to open the elbows wide to your goalpost. Exhale here. Next natural inhale, hands come up. Exhale and fold completely forward this time from the top. Reach those hands out a little further. Relax the neck, the shoulders, the head. Beautiful. Slow, easy steps of those hands back towards your body. Come up to a seated posture and then just move onto hands and knees. Great work. Now, if you know when you hit your tabletop shape, it is beneficial for you to have a blanket or a pad of some sort underneath your knees. Feel free to reach or get that set up. Rocking those hips a little easy, right and left, kind of wagging your tail here as we set for a couple poses out of this square. Belly drops down, inhale, let the chin and tail lift, and then round your back, your spine. You know what to do. So just a couple cat-cows. Your spine, wake up. Playing with its ability to flex forward and back. And the next time you hit that angry cat spine, let's visit our first child's pose. Sending those hips back towards your heels. Hands can walk out long and extended if that feels good in your body, or maybe you drop those elbows into earth. It's gonna depend on what you're looking for today. Surrender any thoughts of worry or stress right here. Just say, I'm gonna lay those down. I'll come back to them when this is all over. Inhale to bring yourself back up to that table. Right leg extend nice and long behind. Now, option to stay here, or if you're looking for a little more challenge today, maybe the left arm comes up, but it doesn't have to. You certainly can just keep that left hand down on the ground as your right leg extends. Focus on pulling the crown of your head a little bit more forward. Nice long extended spine. Play with your ankle on that back lifted leg. Maybe you point and flex the foot here. Figure out which shape feels best in your glute. Is your core feeling like it's involved today? Yes, as your next exhale comes, start to bring that right knee towards your nose. Maybe your left elbow kind of meets the knee underneath, and you stretch long again. Now, if you're not using your arm, that's fine too. You can just operate with just your lower half here. I'm gonna leave my arm out and put it on the floor and just operate with some movement with that back leg. Last one. Put the left hand on the ground, stretch that right leg nice and long, and then just drop those right toes down to your mat, push through your right heel, get yourself a nice calf stretch on that back leg. Right foot then steps over to the left edge of your mat. Begin to look over your left shoulder, and you're going to take a nice C curve stretch down the outer edge to your right side. Perfect. Bring that right foot back to the mat. And then we're going to step the right foot all the way through to your right thumb. If you have a set of blocks, you can certainly reach for those. They might feel nice here as you just kind of put a little bit of pressure, a little bit of weight into this front knee. We're just trying to open up that back left hip flexor. And then we're just going to repeat that whole series that we just did on our knee on the other side here in just a moment. So ease your way back to that shape. This right foot's going to go back. Put yourself back into table. Take your time. Get your knees comfortable. If they feel a little sticky right now, maybe put a down dog in there just because you want to get up off your knees for a moment. You're certainly welcome to that. If your knees feel okay, you can start to move yourself into the other side. So this means our left leg goes long. Maybe your right hand extends out. If that shape works, great. If not, remember that right hand can always come down here on earth. We held for quite a few breaths before we added any dynamic movement. So remember, you're kind of playing with pointing and flexing your toes, seeing what that does to that glute on your lifted leg. The foot is flexed. You're probably going to feel your adductor, your inner thigh, and your glutes say, yep, I'm here. I am awake. If you're experiencing any kind of wrist pain, you can certainly make your hands in fists as they rest on the earth, or reach for a set of blocks. If you want to add that dynamic movement now, here it comes. So maybe your arm is reaching wide and long. As you exhale, elbow towards knee. Now you can also operate without the lifted arm and just focus on your lower abdominals. That's where I'm going to be today. So the breath is floating with the motion of that leg. One more at your own pace. The next time that leg is long, go ahead and leave it there. Bring the hand down to the earth if it isn't already. Toes on your long left leg start to come down to the mat. Push through that left heel. Nice, good stretch on that left calf. Left foot leaves the ground, starts to step over towards the right edge of the mat. And then we're just going to look over that right shoulder. Nice, big stretch. Perfect. Foot comes back to the middle of the mat. And then step it all the way through. So the left foot goes up towards your hands. Great place to reach for blocks again as you try to open up that hip flexor a little more on this right side. So you might walk your blocks, so your hands a little forward. Try to sink in a little more into that front knee. Relax those shoulders down from your ears. They've got a tendency to really creep up there. See if you can relax them a little bit. Play around with the kind of awareness in your front foot, letting your toes spread out, your foot a little more relaxed. Excellent. We're going to take this front foot, it's going backwards, first down dog, or maybe your second if you already took the opportunity. Toes curl under, hips lift up, knees are going to bend, a nice decent bend on this first down dog. So your hips get really high, but then kind of bend your knees and try to push your hips back towards the wall behind you. Almost as if you're trying to put a little imprint on that wall with your tush. Gaze is back towards your toes or your ankles. Maybe pedal your feet or walk out any kind of stress in the backs of your legs. And then take small, easy steps with those feet back up towards your hands, hanging forward fold. Head is down towards earth. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Exhale, trident or your goal post shape. Hands come in front of the face. And then let's go again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Halfway up. Exhale, fold. All the way up. And then that goal post or trident shape. Bring the elbows over in front of your face. Start to take a little bend in your knees. And then just sweep these hands back behind you. So they're just going to kind of move back and forth, behind and in front, playing with a little bit of balance in your feet, turning on those big muscles in your legs, fluidity in the shoulders, side body. One more time. Next time the arms come forward, send them up. Put the biceps by your ears, sink in for a nice solid chair. Keep going, I know you can do it. Exhale and fold. I know that's a big shape. Nice work. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. all the way to standing. Find that trident or a goal pose shape. Elbows in front of the face, and then just start to step back with your right foot, turning that right heel so it hits the ground. Arms maybe are still in those 290 degrees. See what you can do with this front foot. Bend the knee. So whatever knee you have forward, see if you can take that arm underneath. If your eagle doesn't want to cross it elbow to elbow, maybe you take it elbow to about forearm and then try to put a little pressure between those 2 points. It's a new variation I found today for eagle, and I really like how it still gives me a nice shoulder stretch without maybe having to get quite as twisted. Perfect. One more breath. As your next exhale comes, give me a big back stroke like you're going swimming. So just let your arms go back. And then when they reach back up, pause there, just in a classic warrior one. Hold. Breathe. Maybe the gaze even goes upward. All right, friends, let the elbows bend back to that 90. Send them back towards your hips. Weight starts to shift forward towards this front foot. And then we're going to lift off into a little warrior three. And if you're a wobbly, crazy mess today, no worries. Just breathe through that shape. Hold what you can get out of it. One more breath. Swing your lifted leg to meet your standing leg. Arms shoot up, forward fold. Exhale. Hang out here for a moment. This forward fold can feel like a rag doll if that's okay with you today. If you're feeling a little dizzy or maybe you don't like that big fold, put your hands on some blocks, put your hands on your knees, lift yourself up halfway, and just breathe. All right, as you feel ready, we're gonna wake up from that big fold you're in right now. Maybe a half lift feels appropriate to get our breath back moving in the body. Exhale, and then back to standing. Look for those trident or goal pose cactus arms. Pull them in front of the face, and then now you get to step back with your left foot. So you're looking for that same big warrior. So maybe your left foot just kind of slides back the edge of your mat. Your toes as if they're going to touch that outer edge. Heel goes in the ground. And then you adjust your front foot accordingly. Whatever arm, or whatever knee rather, is in front, we're going to take that arm underneath. Give yourself those eagle arms. Maybe you go halfway again like we just talked about. That elbow hits right at the middle of the forearm. And we can kind of just put a little bit of pressure in there. If you feel okay with that big wrapped shape, you of course can take a bigger eagle shape. But not all of us find that very accessible, so that's okay. Just decide what works for you today. Hold the shape. And hip flexor got a little warm up earlier on our knees, but it's really alive right now. If you're not feeling much in that back leg, it's probably the tilt of your pelvis. So just see, you can kind of pull your pelvis just slightly forward, and you'll feel that stretch. Big swimming backstroke. Exhale. Let the arms circle all the way through and up. We find just a classic warrior one. Sink in. Allowing the elbows to bend. Start to sweep the hands back towards your hips as you begin to transfer some weight forward. Now you know what's happening. This becomes warrior three again. Pulling that crown forward, relaxing those shoulders down from your ears. Maybe intentionally kind of rolling them down your back. Find a spot on the floor. Glue your eyes. It's hard to think about much else in your balance other than balance. The moment we fall out, swing that back lifted leg back to meet your standing, hands lift. Exhale, fold, and then you enjoy the fold of your choice. Ragdoll, look for a set of blocks. Maybe just hang out in kind of a half lift. You might widen your feet. You might bring them really close. Options available here. Kind of laugh. Now, this won't have any interest to Tyler, but as I fold here, I'm like super excited. My hair kind of finally fits in a ponytail, like upside down, and I don't have a face full of hair. That is the best. I've been trying to grow it out, and it's finally almost long enough. All right, friends, wake back up. Give me a half lift if that feels good, or you take whatever shape your body might be asking for to get you to tall standing posture. Take that goalpost or trident one more time. Get a good full breath in. Open those shoulder blades. Yes, hands come to heart, and we just take just a traditional mountain. Hands at prayer. Maybe you walk your big toes all the way to touch. Start sending your roots steady and strong down into the earth, pulling the crown of the head to the sky. Right foot begins to settle into the ground. And then I just want you to take your version of tree today, whatever that's going to look like to you. It might be left toes on the earth. It might be on the calf. It might be up higher. And then you decide where you want your arms to go. Maybe they go up over your head. They stay at the heart, out to the side. And I want to add just a little bit of challenge today. So when you are in that tree, wherever you've settled your arms, start to take them to your trident that we've been playing with so very much today. And then I want that to move a little bit. Notice what happens with your core as you start to shift, like swaying branches on your tree. It's almost like we're doing core work in a tree pose. One more time. Easy sway. Perfect. Come back to wherever your center is. Maybe hands come to heart. Step that foot down. Give yourself a little bit of space to roll ankles or hips, anything that might need just a little bit of room to get unsticky. And then we'll settle in to putting weight into that left foot this time. So your tree shape will shift onto the other side, obviously making sure the knee opens a little bit out to the side, not sitting into this opposite hip. Pull up out of the earth, those tree roots growing strong into the ground. Sturdy, solid trunk. Hands go wherever you like for a few breaths, and then we'll try that trident or cactus shape. Relaxing those elbows down. And then start to send that wind, the breeze through your tree. If you got to tap down and then reset over and over and over, it is what it is, friends. Keep going. Don't let those thoughts of expectation wander in. If you're hearing words like, I should be able to do this, that's when you need a big exhale. There's no shoulds today. All right, start to let that settle back to center, maybe hands to heart, and then drop the foot down. Any kind of wiggles of ankles, hips, anything that feels a little tense. And then I'll have you walk to the top of your mat if you aren't already there. Sometimes when we balance, we walk around. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. halfway up. Exhale, fold. Right foot steps back. Left foot steps back. You are in a plank. Knees can be on the ground if that's where you need to be today. No worries. Hold that plank for 3 breaths. Maybe work on shifting weight forward and back. Lock in that core. Let it be part of this shape. Knees begin to drop to ground if they aren't already. Elbows glued to the sides of your body as you lower down, belly to the mat. An easy cobra, nothing huge, just a little lift of the upper chest, the upper body, lower back. Walk those hands back near the breastbone. Curl the toes, push the knees or high plank. And then here's your down dog again. Lift those hips. Put yourself in the dog pose. Walk it out. Small steps of the feet, walk them forward towards your hands. You're in a forward fold once more. A little bit of flowing movement here. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. You're doing awesome. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to heart. Take out your goalpost. Just relax those shoulders. All right, let's go again. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Halfway up. Exhale, fold. This time, left foot steps back first. Then your right. Plank on your knees or a high plank. Those looking for a little challenge in your plank, maybe you lift your right hand, let it reach forward. Put the right hand down. Left hand, let it reach forward. Let it down. You can take one more walk, or you can alternate and do your legs. Obviously, at least 3 limbs need to stay on the floor or you will crash. So don't look more than, well, maybe you could do a hand and a foot. You might be more Superman than me. Knees drop down to ground when you've finished that series. Lower to your belly. Oh, beautiful. Just an easy cobra. Take your time. Not a lot of pressure in your hands. It's a gentle heart opener. Hands walk back near breastbone. This time, instead of your big dog, send it to either puppy or child's pose. Surrender that chest down to the earth. Maybe your forehead hits the mat or you reach for a block even. If child's pose isn't particularly comfortable to you today, maybe you separate your knees a little wider. Make a little more space. Maybe you add a prop like block underneath your forearms so the floor just doesn't feel so far away. And you just settle in. Those same worries and stresses that I asked you to let go of earlier, they made their way back. Here's your second chance. Lay them down right here on the earth. You can pick them up again later. Give yourself these remaining few moments of practice time today to sift through. Figure out what's most important, hold on to that, and then let the rest go. There can be some physical tensions hiding in your body. There can be some mental stresses weighing on your mind, or just some emotional things heavy on your heart. Each inhale breath, each exhale breath allows us to sift through, holding on to what's important, letting the rest go. I'm going to give you a few more breaths in this child's pose. If you're someone whose child's pose is just not really feeling great in your body today, you can come up to table, take a couple cat-cows. You can move yourself to a seated meditation pose, or maybe just move forward and rest on your belly. Know that anytime you're put in a shape, if it isn't allowing you to relax and let go, you are welcome to find an alternative shape. Slowly beginning to wake up from that child's pose. Maybe the hands gently start to walk back towards your body as your upper body comes up off the earth. If it feels okay to keep your hips back towards your heels and just kind of walk your spine up tall, you can hang here for a breath or two in kind of a variation of a hero pose. If that doesn't sit well with you, maybe you come to high knees and you just either let your hands hang to the sides, or you walk the palms of your hands to your low back, rolling those shoulders down and away. Close the eyes and give a couple breaths. So either seated hero variation, tall knees, or a little bit of a heart opener. Lots of options. Close the eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, or let the gaze become very gentle down the tip of your nose. Beautiful. Hands just kind of slide down your legs, start to look for the floor. Give yourself a couple cat-cows just to reset the spine before we head to our back. Belly drops to your earth on the inhale. Belly rounds, or back rounds rather, on your exhale. Just take it easy. All right, transitioning, however, it makes most sense to find your seat on the earth. Spine is tall. We'll let the legs extend long out in front of us. Taking just a couple moments to kind of pull the cushion out from underneath, get those sits bones really in contact with the earth. Let the spine become tall, and think about yourself like a nice capital L, flexing the toes up towards the ceiling, spine getting high, crown of head lifted. Maybe your hands even extend up above the head, and then hinge right at that crease where your top half meets your bottom. You want the hinge to happen right there. So you're going to feel kind of your tush move slightly backward as you lean your belly up and over an invisible bar or board across your legs. Hands kind of fall wherever they feel comfortable on the earth. It's always okay too to maybe throw a block in just to give it something to rest on. So the entire time I'm thinking about pulling a string up through the crown of my head. The hips sink back as my chest moves forward. Perfect. Start to ease back up from that big forward fold. Let those knees bend. Soles of feet look for each other. If you have a set of blocks and you want to catch your knees, feel free. If you don't and you don't want to do that, that is fine too. Let your feet open like a book. So pinky toes touch, but then you kind of let the outer edges open a little more. And then, yeah, some of you are letting your neck talk, go for it. If you need to drop your chin to your chest or I have a a little bit of swaying motion here, feel free. We harbor so much stress and tension in our upper back and shoulders and our neck. So yep, use this opportunity to work some of that out. And if you find a spot that's particularly sticky, needs a little extra moment, stay there. Direct the breath right to that spot. You're kind of like an air traffic controller, right here. Yep. Put the breath right there. Perfect. And move on, see if you can find another spot. So moving slowly is a great way to find those sticky spots. We let our neck roll around like a newborn baby. We don't often find those spots, so take your time. If you want to hinge forward a little bit, cobbler's pose, bringing your chest closer to your toes, feel free. Perfect. Using your next inhale breath, start to relax out of whatever big shapes you've been in. Help those knees back up towards center. Check your surroundings. You might be a little far back on your mat. You might want to scoot up just a smidge. Reach for a couple blocks. Keep them handy if you've got them. Reach for a blanket, a sweater, an eye pillow, a bolster, any of those props that you like as you start to settle down. Maybe the knees immediately want to come to your chest, or you want your legs long, whatever first position feels best. Take your time. We are going to add a recline twist here before we find our Savasana. So if that sounds like a good idea to you, you might keep your right knee hugged in towards your belly and let your left leg go long down the mat. A little bit of movement in the toes, in the ankles. And then welcome that right knee over and across to the left side of the body. I've got a block handy, so when my right knee moves across my body, I'm gonna block it up today. So that means I'm just gonna put that block on the inside edge of my knee or on my thigh. Let my left arm kind of come over and hang out on top of that right leg, and then send my right arm out to the side in a T shape. We're in that cactus shape with a bent elbow. Of course, if you don't have a block or you don't want to block up that knee, you certainly don't have to. I'm just here offering suggestions. You make decisions. After this twist feels like it's starting to be complete, you might welcome that right knee back towards center, ease out of that shape, and then switch out. Left knee coming in towards your belly, maybe your right leg going long. If you used a block, you can switch it over to the other side. Start to twist to bring this left knee over to the right edge of your mat. Again, maybe placing it on a block if that felt good on the inner thigh or the inside edge of that knee. Opposite arm might stretch out to T, gazing up towards the ceiling or in the opposite direction of that knee. And we'll just let things release here. Obviously knowing that if at any point these closing postures are not really speaking to you and something else is a little louder, you can certainly ignore my suggestions, stick with something that feels safe in your body, but maybe just nourishing you in a slightly different way. Feel free to adapt the practice to fit you. Muscles of the face are soft. The gaze is very gentle on the ceiling, or maybe the eyes are even closed. Slowly starting to come out of the twist on this side. Knee moving back towards center. Feet might find the floor with an easy wave of those knees like you're windshield wipering right and left. Maybe stepping the feet long on the mat, letting the arms reach overhead, taking kind of an X or a star shape on the earth. Allowing those shoulders to relax down fully into the earth. You can allow this X shape or star shape to be your Savasana, or just a transition to one or two more simple poses before you release everything into that final rest. If you feel like you just need one or two more things, you certainly can have it. Otherwise, figure out where you're going to land today to finish out the practice. Traditional Savasana looks like legs fully extended down the mat, maybe your heels on the earth, but you allow your toes to kind of roll towards the outer edges of the mat. You to think about the inner soles of your feet, and the arch area of your foot is up towards the sky. Your pinky toe closer to the earth. Perhaps your hands are equal distance away from your hips with your palms flipped towards the sky. This gives your shoulder blades just a little bit more space to come out from beneath you. Really let the back of the head settle. And release. Of course, if traditional Savasana doesn't work for you today, you can certainly use blocks, placing them underneath the backs of the knees. You can roll to rest on either your right or left side. Or take any other variations that feel appropriate in your body. Knowing that Savasana is intended for you to seal off the practice in a restful state. Let the breath become slow, heavy, Slowly beginning to become aware of the breath. Gentle movements back in, taking your time. The wiggle of the fingers, wiggle of the toes. Maybe some gentle movement as we bend the knees and bring them back towards the body, finding your way to rest on either your right or your left side. Just take your time. The race is not always to the swift, but those who keep on running. In life, even more than in fables, what counts is that we keep going, despite the obstacles in front of us, and there are plenty of examples of what happens to those who win fame, fortune, and power too quickly. All we have to do is browse the magazines at the supermarket to see them. Most of us won't have our lives chronicled in print, but we will have lives of value. We'll love others, do the best we can, and just keep getting out of bed every morning and going about our daily business. There are many things I'd like to accomplish or wish I had accomplished already. I won't be frustrated by not having done everything I aspire to do. I'll just keep working at it. Pressing into the earth when you feel ready, we'll close out today's class seated, perhaps maybe hands to heart, eyes might close as you take a couple cleansing, healing breaths, just reminding yourself how much power you hold in a simple action of breathing. Thank you so much for making time for not only your physical body, but your mind and spirit as well. Thanks for sifting alongside us. Namaste.